Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So we're here in the NBA Finals, and I'm not sure that there's anybody who had the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Championship. Because I know I didn't. When the season started, I thought that the Miami Heat were a top 5 seed in the East, but I thought that they were an Eastern Conference Championship finalist at best. I did not think that they were going to be in the NBA Finals. I thought that the Milwaukee Bucks, I thought that the Boston Celtics, and I thought that the Philadelphia 76ers were all better. Well, obviously that wasn't true. And why isn't that true? What's going on with the Miami Heat that they seem to end up, over the last 4 years, they seem to end up here? What are they doing that everybody else isn't doing? Well, one of the things I think about more than anything is I think about stability. When I think about the great teams that the NBA, the best teams that the NBA has ever seen, the Boston Celtics in the 80s, the Lakers in the 80s, the Bulls in the late 80s and the 90s, the San Antonio Spurs, the Warriors, just to name a few. When I see those teams, what I think about is I think about stability. How did you guys build this unit, and how did you keep this thing together for as long as you did? Well, you think about the Celtics in the 80s. They built that unit around Larry Bird. They built that unit around Larry Bird and added Kevin McHale. They added Robert Parrish. They added Gerald Henderson. Cedric Maxwell was already there. That Laker team, that unit was built around Jabbar. They added James Worthy. They added Byron Scott. They added Magic. Magic was the difference. But that unit was together for a lot of years. You think about that Bulls team. They drafted Jordan. And they added Scottie Pippen. They added Horace Grant. They added John Paxson. They added B.J. Armstrong. They added Stacey King. And these groups were together for a long time. That Laker team with Kobe and Shaq. They drafted Kobe in 96. Added Shaq. Drafted Derek Fisher. Added Robert Horry the next year. Added Bryant Shaw. Added Rick Fox. When you have stability like that for a long time, what you're going to have is you're going to have consistent results. Now, you might have to tweak a couple of things, whether you have the right ingredients, you just need to change the chef. You may have the right chef, but you may need to take this one thing out of the ingredients and put this in, which is very much what these teams have done in the past, right? So when I think about the Miami Heat, that's who they are. They're an organization of stability. Eric Spoelstra's been there for 15 years. I think Greg Popovich are the longest tenured coaches in the league. Steve Kerr just got the job in 2014. With Eric Spoelstra being that constant, he brought a toughness. He brought an X and O. He's brought an IQ. He's brought a mentor. He's brought all of those things to the Miami Heat. So when you have a Miami Heat unit with that kind of leader, and you build around that, you're going to get consistent results, like what they have right now. They've been to the Eastern Conference Championship 3 times in 4 years. They've been to the NBA Championship twice in the last 4 years. Well, you bring in buckets. You draft Bam Adebayo. And then now what you do is you get the talent that nobody is paying attention to. Nobody was paying attention to Duncan Robinson, a guy who was a Division III player who transferred to Michigan for 1 season and didn't blow everybody away, but he caught the eye of some people. Max Strus, another guy who nobody paid attention to, caught the eye of some people in the Miami Heat organization. Caleb Martin, who's a guy who I firmly believe that there are some executives in the NBA who should be fired because they clearly aren't doing their homework. So Caleb Martin was the WAC, Western Athletic Conference Player of the Year. The Western Athletic Conference is not a WAC, it's a first-class league. It might not be a Power 5 conference, but it's one of the best, if not the best, mid-major league in the country. He was the Player of the Year in that league. He went undrafted. You know why he went undrafted? Because there's people that there are people who are not doing their homework. So he had a friend of his, J. Cole, pick up the telephone. Because a lot of this stuff happens by word of mouth. And he had a friend of his pick up the telephone. He saw him and he goes, yo, how come you're not on somebody's crew? What's going on, man? I don't know. Well, I know somebody, so let me pick the telephone up. And he called somebody. He's got a friend down with the Miami Heat. Yo, I got a guy here that you might want to take a look at him. I'm not saying that he's the best, but you might want to take a look at this guy. And the Miami Heat are that kind of organization where they'll take a call. They're not these organizations that poo-poo everything or poo-poo a lot of things. They'll take a call, especially if it's from somebody that they respect. So when you get this in your ear, yo, you need to see this guy. Well, I've heard that this guy is this, and you might want to take a look at him. Well, let's do that. And that's what they do. Fly Caleb Martin down, work him out so much that they go, you know what, we do like this guy. Maybe we will hold on to him. And they develop him into what you see now. Nobody was paying attention to Gabe Vincent. Nobody was paying attention to Duncan Robinson, Max Strus. Nobody was paying attention to Udonis Haslem when he came out of college. And Udonis Haslem was on a national championship team. Nobody was paying attention to him. He went undrafted. He comes into camp, and Pat Riley sees him and goes, I think we're going to hold on to him. Yeah, I think we're going to hold on to that guy. Yes, sir. 20 years later, he's still on the crew. The vet that you need. All of these things matter when you're talking about building a championship unit. All of these things matter. Same thing's going on in Denver. You got a guy in Nikola Jokic who's been in the league since 2015. Who came in right after him? Jamal Murray. Him and Jamal Murray been together 7 seasons. Add MPJ to that. So now that's 4 more years that he's been with them. And then you throw in KCP. You throw in Aaron Gordon, who's been there for 2 years. Now you have the ingredients. Now what we got to do is we got to get a chef. Didn't we just get finished talking about stability? Well, Mike Malone's been the head coach of the Denver Nuggets for 8 years. So you got an 8-year head coach with Joker and Jamal Murray, who've been together for as long as they've been together. Then you add MPJ, you add Aaron Gordon. You're building something. If you look at the units over the last couple of years that have gone deep into the playoffs, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, just the Denver Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors. What has been the mark of their success? Stability. The idea that you can put a crew together, and it's just going to work like that, that is unrealistic. That is not something that happens overnight. And the reason why it's not something that happens overnight is the same reason why it doesn't go away overnight. When you build it and you keep it together for that long and you start to see the success that you've seen, this thing is going to keep going. And again, what I don't want to do is I don't want to bring up injuries. And the reason why I don't want to talk about injuries is because a lot of people say stuff like, well, the reason why the Miami Heat weren't as good as they were this season was because Jimmy Butler, he got injured. And there were a lot of injuries on that crew. Well, just so you know, the core of the Miami Heat with Strus, Caleb Martin, Bam, Buckets, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, that core, I believe they averaged 71 games this year. The idea that Buckets has been injured. Buckets has been in the league since 2011. 2011 is when he showed up. In the last 10 years, he's averaged 63 games a season. He played 64 this year. That's who he is. This is who Buckets is. He played 75 plus games one time. You're not going to get more than 60 plus games at it, than 63, 60. You're not going to get more than that. That's who he is. What's going to happen is once the playoffs start, you're going to get, but before we get into the playoffs, you're going to get a damn good season out of him, though. You're definitely going to get that. Because he is an all-pro. He is an all-league defender. You're going to get that out of him in that 60-plus games. Yeah, you're going to get that out of him. Bam is going to be on the floor. I believe Bam played 71 games this year? 70-plus games this year Bam played. So guys like Bam, guys like Gabe Vincent, this crew, these guys play. And because they've been together for a long time, you see the results. You see who these guys are. Now, the Denver Nuggets, on the flip side to that, what they have is they have not only stability as a head coach, not only stability with their core with Jamal Murray and MPJ and Joker. They got that toughness too. Like I said, Nikola Jokic is one of the best big men that I've ever seen. And you develop continuity with a guy when you've been with him for a long time. Which is why Jamal Murray plays so well off of him. It's not like Jamal Murray just got with Joker a year ago or 2 years ago and it looks like this. No. When you played with a guy for as long as Murray has played with Joker, this is what you're going to see. This is what it's going to look like. And I can get with that. That's why I'm not surprised that they're here. I said before the season started, I thought that the road to the NBA championship went through the Golden State Warriors. Why? Because the Golden State Warriors with Steph, Clay, and Dre, they've been together since 2014, 2015. Since they've been together, since 2014, 2015, they've been in the NBA Finals every year. So with that being said, there's a certain level of continuity that they developed. And the proof is in the pudding. NBA champions, 6 trips to the finals in 8 years, winning 4. That's because they've been together for a long time. This Boston Celtic unit, 5 trips to the Eastern Conference Championship in 7 years. A trip to the NBA Finals last year. They had a coaching situation, which, had that not happened, I think that they're right back where they were last year. I think that contributed a lot to what they didn't do. A lot of people are talking about, well, Jason Tatum isn't that guy. Well, he had a career year this year. He averaged the most points in his career this season. I believe he averaged the most rebounds this season. First team All-NBA performer again this season. So I bring that up to say that when you talk about championship units, teams like the Miami Heat are a beacon of stability. You know, what you saw with James, Dwayne Wade, that was an anomaly. More times than not, teams that have been together for a while, that's why the Dallas Mavericks beat them. Teams that have been together for a while are a little more in sync and on the same page. And that's one of the main reasons why the Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat, because it's not just throwing a unit together and expecting to win it. No, that's not what this is. So I applaud the Miami Heat. I applaud what they're doing. I applaud how they're put together. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets. I think this is going to be a fantastic NBA Finals series. I'm not, as much as I don't want to pick against the Miami Heat, because every round they've shown me why I shouldn't pick against them, I think that this specific NBA Finals is going to be a tall task. Let me tell you. This is because they haven't seen anything like this. And I won't say from a talent standpoint, because they have been overmatched in terms of talent against, like, the Boston Celtics would be a prime example of that. I thought that they were less talented than the Milwaukee Bucks. We have seen that. But this thing with Denver may be a little bit different, and it's going to be a tall task for them to conquer. I will say this, I'm not doubting them, and I would love to see a 6-7 game series, but it's the NBA Finals, man, and I'm here for it. This is fantastic. So You guys know where to find me. I'll be here. Until then, take it light, but take it.